Hello, back again, and this video, just to shatter the illusion, is recorded exactly straight after the last one, looking at the final issue of Nintendo Game Zone. But I just thought, while I've got the time, it's better just to crack on really. So with this, I'm gonna look at another issue of GamesMaster. I quite like looking at the multi-format magazines, and when I was at the Birmingham Games Market, say last month, no god, it was start of April, I picked up a few 1994 GamesMaster magazines, which I totally forgot about. It was only when I was actually looking through a bag earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, I got these. And I also picked up issue 100 of Amstrad Action, so there's probably going to be a video on that as well. So without further ado, we are going to go back 30 years, almost exactly. So this is dated May 1994. So they've just about gone on sale 30 years back. And this, not the best cover really. The big three exclusives: World Cup USA 94, FIFA International Soccer, and Sensible International Soccer. And then there's also a feature on various car games as well. This is probably one of my favourite years, 1993, 1994. I just find it a really interesting time because the 16-bit machines were at their peak, but also we're just around the corner from, things like the PlayStation, the Saturn and everything like that. So there's so much to cover. So when I look at things like CBG and GamesMaster, if it was sport for choice, you'd have so much to fit into like 100 pages. But yeah, I think it is. Yeah, 100 pages. This one, I mean, some issues were like 140, 150 pages, especially around Christmas time. So as a kid, I absolutely loved it. So without further ado, I'm going to have a quick look at this. This is, as I said, issue 17. Not the best cover. I think it's one of those where it's not going to sell you on the cover at all. But let's see what's being said. So we start with network, the news, and as you can probably see, following on from my last video, Monitor Man is in the news again. He's gone. It's to see what we actually say. Oh God, I can hardly read that at all. But yeah, it's sort of like, I think we're starting to realise that you don't really need just like a little character like that. Some games are going to have proper BBFC certificates. Because again, it was like anyone who was there, you had like just a media, like stirring up hatred and anger towards gaming. I mean, look, you look at half the stuff now and it's just so tame, compared to obviously what you get. But I suppose that's just it. It's like finding something to blame. But anyway, one of the main stories up here is the Super Game Boy. Something that I do have in my collection. Something I use not all the time, but I do like playing like Rodland, the Game Boy game. So playing that on a Super Nintendo, you've got like a couple of different backgrounds you can use and things like that. It gives you a little bit more colour. A couple of games are enhanced. I think it's mainly the Donkey Kong, Mario vs Donkey Kong. Oh no, God, start again. Donkey Kong 94, which I've still never actually played, which is quite surprising because everyone says that's such a good game. But yeah, I do like the Super Game Boy. I mean, I've got an original Game Boy as well, but I think it's a nice piece to have. And then we've also got a bit of Saturn news. So, as just said, that is coming quite soon. They're saying the Saturn is going to be end of 1995, and this, well, it says in the meantime it's hang on to yeah. So if you're saying this might be a new version of a Mega Drive with the 32-bit technology built in, obviously that never happened. I know you had 32X, but you never had like Mega Drive with new technology built in. And then again, other news is another Bomberman game coming out. So, okay. Don't know if you remember this. Project Reality. Oh, look, such a futuristic looking console. So this is what Nintendo are rumoured to be working on. So developed by Rare, the UK-based software company. What I'm saying here, so God, sorry about this. It's just like it's sort of trying to give information, but it doesn't really give too much. So again, it's in the Project Reality home system. It's due at the end of 1995. So again, this was working with the company Silicon Graphics. So again, the N64 did, work with Silicon Graphics, some of the Silicon Graphics workstations. But I don't know. I don't know like when it actually went from this Project Reality into the N64. Even though the N64 did use some of the same technology that the Project Reality was meant to use, but obviously it came out a lot later than end of 1995. Because the SNES was still going then. But anyway, right. So I'll move on to actual facts. Super Street Fighter 2 coming to Super Nintendo. That was summer 1994, so quite soon after this. Really, really good conversion. One of my mates bought it when we were kids. I own it in my collection of SNES games. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's just that then you end up having to get rid of your Street Fighter 2 Turbo, to get the new one for new characters and stuff like that. And then there's a little bit of news looking at Urban Strike coming up as well. We have got here the charts. Yeah, make sure I'm showing the right page there. I'm just going to look at the main ones. For SNES, Super Mario Kart, Sensible Soccer and Zelda 3. Mega Drive, FIFA, Sonic 3 and Castlevania. Amiga, Man United Premier League Champions, Beneath the Steel Sky and Cannon Fodder. Game Boy, Kirby's Pinball, Super Mario Land and Flintstones. So some of those games have been out for absolutely ages, especially Super Mario Land, and Mario Kart as well. But just shows that, they are some of the best titles on there, even now, all these years later. And then we have got the big feature on racing games, Car Wars. So quite a few car games being featured in here, be it in the arcade, previews of home console games and things like that. So we have got Ridge Racer on the arcade. Obviously came out on a PlayStation around a year later, but at the time you go in and you see things like, this sit down Ridge Racer and Daytona and stuff like that. And it was absolutely brilliant, We got a preview for Speed Racer, just touched on that in the last video. Stunt Race FX, a game, again, always got good reviews, but never got my head around it at all. Also known as, what was it? Wild Tracks, I think, in Japan. I'm thinking back a bit now, though. We have got a 3DO preview of Road Rash, which, I'll be honest, did look really, really good. At the time, Road Rash on Mega Drive, absolutely fantastic game. So to obviously see these FMV sequences, some amazing music, some proper bands being used as well. And obviously when the game came out on PS1, they weren't as fun as the Mega Drive versions, but, it was a step up and it was trying to do something a bit different. But I think by PlayStation, it was like on its way down as a series anyway. Then we have got the advert for Castlevania, as mentioned just a few minutes ago. And then we've also got a preview for Theme Park. Massive game for 1994. There is a feature looking at The Simpsons. It's a bit of a strange one, this. So this is in 1994. So The Simpsons have been around for quite some time. And games as well, they've been coming out for quite a bit. So it's going through, you've never seen The Simpsons, telling you about every single character. And then there's a third page for this as well. So the only reason, I'm just guessing here, because Andy Lowe was the editor of GamesMaster at the time, and Tim Tucker worked on it as well. Now, couple of years ago, when it was the pandemic, they started a Simpsons podcast, both massive fans of it. So I do wonder if it's just being a bit indulgent, and putting in a free page, piece of something that they're interested in, it being pop culture. Can't have a go at for that. I know that I've done it myself, in a Pixel Addict. And then we have got an interview with Patrick Moore, the GamesMaster himself. He said himself wasn't into games, but obviously a bit of an icon for, portraying such an iconic character. Then we've got the review pages. So again, looking at your reviewers at the top of the page. I always liked seeing that, seeing all the different reviewers' profiles, and then the box outs for what's to come. First review, Virtual Racing. I can never make my mind up. Like I said, I'm not a massive racing fan. Playing it on arcade, absolutely loved it. This is a Mega Drive version they're reviewing at £70. Now, it did come on a massive cartridge. They've given it 91%. I suppose all the magazines were really, really impressed that they could do that, on a home console. And then on PC CD-ROM, we've got Mega Race. Game I've never ever played. What's that? 26%. Or is that 76? Oh, 76. Surely. Yeah, 76. God, I thought that was a bit low. I'm not going to go into this too much at the moment. Battle cars. What I will have a look at, though, is this. This is, again, another football game. So this is a month before World Cup 94 started. So it's an official game for it. My mate did buy this, as said before. Any football game you end up buying, really, just to see if it was going to be the best, the must-play football game. They're giving it 90%. Now, I played the Super Nintendo version, not played it for a long time. I'll be honest, when I see it cheap, and I've seen it for like a tenner at shows and stuff, I sometimes have the odd wobble, because I just go, well, you know what, I used to enjoy playing it, but then I've got things like, the FIFA games on my SNES and things like that, and even Super Soccer and World Cup Striker and stuff like that, and so it's not really needed. But yeah, there's just something about it, It's always in good condition as well, so I suppose that's the reason not many people actually are bothered about owning the football games. Then we've got another one, FIFA International Soccer on SNES, 85%, which isn't bad at all, really. I'd still prefer FIFA over World Cup. And then you got Sensible Soccer International Edition, 94% on the Amiga, which is a massive score. And then you also got an advert here for Rick's video, saying that they hire out games. I know that NBA Jam we used to rent out a lot, mainly because it's just one of those games you can just have quick goes on, quick 5-minute turn, someone else, and another one being Eternal Champions. It wasn't as good as Street Fighter 2, but it still wasn't too bad, But yeah, I enjoy seeing those old Ritz adverts, So this is, it's Ritz and Blockbuster, but I think by then we were still Ritz at my local one anyway. I think you've got this, never played it, Heimdall 2. What was that? 77%, I think it says there. And that is on the Amiga. Les Ellis reviewing that one. One of the highest rated games ever in GamesMaster. Tempest 2000 on the Atari Jaguar. Now, I know for a fact that, if you got this, I've got Andy Lowe reviewing it as well. He absolutely loves this, even now when I've spoke to him. The issue after this one, he went to go and interview the Prodigy in issue 18 and played Tempest 2000 with him. He's into his dance music and into the Prodigy, so I think this was like the perfect game for him, and Tim took it there with a second opinion. 97% though. I've got this now through the Atari 50 collection, and it is really, really good. I remember my mate, an old mate, he got a Jaguar and he lent it me just for a few days. I thought, this is brilliant, absolutely fantastic, And then we've got this quiz game on 3DO, Twisted. This was on the GamesMaster TV series. I know that I remember seeing that fairly recently. 77%, not the type of game I'd be bothered about really. Subterrania on Mega Drive, shoot 'em up, 89%. Now this one is a funny one. Streets of Rage 3, 59%. Just zoom in a little bit there. Some people might think that's a bit harsh. I mean, I would probably rate it a little bit higher myself. It is my least favourite, not just because it's really, really solid and so frustratingly difficult, at least the PAL version. The Japanese one's meant to be a bit easier, I've been told, but the music's not as good, you know, so like, again, I always still say Streets of Rage 2, Streets of Rage 4, 1, then 3 of my order. So I suppose even at 59%, I wouldn't really rate it much higher. Then we've got Super Troll Island on SNES, 81%. Art of Fighting 2 on Neo Geo, 80%. Again, one-on-one beat-em-ups, really, really popular at the time. We've got a couple of CD32 games. So at this point, the CD32 have probably been out about 6 months, roughly. And as we know, it didn't do what it could have done. On Amiga Addict, we had an issue looking at the CD32, and because Commodore were in trouble, they rushed it out, they cut corners. It was meant to actually, well, it was already more powerful than the Mega CD, but it was meant to do even more. But because, again, Commodore needed the money, they were just told, just get it out there, get it out there. We need games, we need games. So then, obviously, well-known publishers like Team 17 and what else, Mindscape and a few others, they're just going, right, okay, well, I've got this, say, 1200 version, just whack it on a CD, you know, just get it out of there. So you got things like this, Project X and F-17, 2 games, 80%. Not terrible, 25 quid, but if you've already got an Amiga, why get it? Global Effect by Millennium, 85%. And then we have got Mortal Kombat on Mega CD. So this is months after other consoles. They've given it 67%. When I bought a Mega CD, about 25 years ago, when I got one cheap, possibly 99, 2000, came with it. I just don't like the original Mortal Kombat at all, really. The Pool Game Side Pocket on SNES, 71%. Utopia on SNES, 78%, still never played that. K240 on Amiga, 84%. So both of these are Gremlin games. Again, RTS titles. And yeah, I've just never ever played them. You know, they've never appealed to me. Even though I do like the genre, I don't know if it's just like the space setting. Then we've got Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3 on the Game Boy, 94%. Now this is good. This is really, really good. The Super Mario Land games are still fantastic to play. So yeah, I'm not surprised that got such a high rating. Just try and whiz through the last little bit here. We've got Mega Turrican at 77%. Pebble Beach Golf on 3DO, 87%. And then we're down to tips right near the end on Sonic 3 here. Just looking through how to beat the bosses, bonus stages, stuff like that. I've got some tips for Fury of the Furries, a game I've not played, but again, we've been mentioning it quite a bit on, I should say, Amiga Addict. Then we've got some Dragon Slayer tips, much needed. And then we've got Secret Mana Player's Guide, one of my all-time favourite games. And I don't know, I very rarely used Player's Guides to RPGs, because back then I used to have like so much time. I'd just grind and level up and then eventually get past what I was stuck on, you know, and move on to it. And then we've got an advert here for Total with Super Metroid, which is about to hit 30 years old in about a month's time. Then we've got more tips in the consultation zone. And this is about it. Letters, but nothing really that stood out when I had a flip through before. We have got Silica they were always advertising the Amiga stuff. So again, loads of Amiga bundles and things there. But yeah, that's it. Issue 17 of GamesMaster. 30 years ago. My God, where does the time go? I don't know what I'm going to look at yet. Next, I should say. But I'll try and get another video out in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, whatever. I'll speak to you soon. I'm off to carry on doing some work on the Addict Mags. See you soon. Bye-bye.